Greetings, everyone. Welcome to another live edition here in the Art Lab, CircWorks Art Labs, where today we are going to be making Kryptonite, that mail order Kryptonite, if you remember that from back in the days, or maybe you don't. Actually, yeah, I do. I am old enough to remember that, but I was pretty young at the time. But that was just something I always wanted to order from the back of a comic book, and I never got it. So I decided, I'm going to make that myself. And if you watch my previous video, the edited video that I did, then you could see that whole process. But I kind of went through it kind of quickly, highly edited. It's a really fun video if you want to check that out. But today I thought I'd slow things down and just do a live stream and also answer any question. I see Edie's in the chat, so I know people are going to start rolling in here pretty soon. And I meant to do this video last week, but I was out of town, and then I was like, oh, I'll do it the next day. And then I'm like, you know what? Usually I do these videos in the morning, so I'm like, you know what? I think I'm going to try to do one in the evening. Well, of course, that depends on where you are in the world. But for me, in the evening, and just see if I can get some different people. Maybe spread this out to a different crowd. We'll just see what happens. But so yeah, this is sort of an easy one. And in some ways, it's easy. I mean, I tend to overthink everything and make everything a little more difficult, but it's fun. So I'm gonna if you don't mind casting your eyes here to this book here, Mail Order Mysteries. This is almost sort of like the Bible to what I'm doing on the channel. A lot of this stuff in here is stuff that I want to recreate. But when I recreate stuff, I kind of reverse engineer it, and I do it in my own style. So here's what the original Kryptonite looked like when you would order it from the back of a comic book or whatever. They also had them in concession stands when the original Christopher Reeve Superman came out. That's when I first spotted it and wanted it, and unfortunately never got it. So that's kind of why I decided, you know what, I'm going to make this thing myself. But like I said, I don't always make things the way they're presented here because I want to add my own spin. I want to add my own little bit of originality to it and everything. So that's what we're going to do today. And in doing so, I'll kind of show you. So this is sort of what I came up with. I went a few steps further where here we've got just the kind of the regular box. It's basically a painted rock, a rock painted glow in the dark. So that's the easy part. But like I said, I take things a little further. Oh, wow, we got a lot of people showing up in the chat. Hey, everyone. Of course, now you probably hear my dogs in the background. All right, yes, there are dogs running around here in the underground lair. Okay, so this is sort of what I came up with. And it is inspired by, I have in the underground lair, I have a little plutonium case, which was inspired by the case from Back to the Future. And so I thought it would be cool to make a box within a box. And as you can see, we'll just kind of do a little unboxing here so I can show you if you didn't see the original video. And then inside, you can kind of see where I took, I basically, here you can see, I mean, I wanted to capture that. I don't know what is going on with these dogs. Anyway, sorry. That's what happens when you go live, people. All right. So anyway, but I wanted to capture that look, but I wanted to put my own spin on it. So that's the inside box. And then inside, of course, I've packaged a little glow in the dark. Well, what they call Kryptonite, what I'm calling a radioactive cosmic meteorite. And in the back, and I created, there's a little disclaimer on the back and everything. And like I said, watch the video and you'll kind of see what that's all about. So that's what I'm gonna do. I've got all the art files here. We're gonna cut these boxes out and everything. But I guess we start by just painting the rock. And so that's sort of, like I said, that's kind of the simple part. So we'll be doing a number, so this project is obviously glow in the dark project. The next big project I'm working on also, it has a glow in the dark element, which I'm not going to give away quite yet, but it's going to be super fun. So the hardest thing for me was finding the right glow in the dark paint, because I looked at the, when I looked at the original here. Now, of course, I lost my page. I don't know where it is. Of course, now I can't find it. There it is. So I wanted it to be like a solid, a solid glow in the dark green. I didn't want it to have like the white and all that, but that's easier said than done, which I, I found out when I actually started painting these, because I'm not doing kryptonite, so to speak. I could take some liberties and I could do some different colors and things. So I bought this multicolor pack. This was about the highest rated paint that I could find on Amazon. I'm sure there's better paints. And that's the other cool thing about doing these live streams is you guys may have, you may have better recommendations on some of this stuff. I know Dee Dee's in the chat. She does all kinds of crafts. So maybe you've done some kind of glow in the dark projects. I don't know. But anyone that does these things, feel free to let me know if you have anything better. So basically what I did was I bought this multi-pack and I tested it to see which ones glowed the best. And the ones that did were the ones that I used. And obviously the green, which doesn't show up as green. I mean, this is sort of more of a green that will show up as green, I think, on the rock. This is more of a, what's it? Or it's just your regular glow in the dark paint, which has a green glow to it. So that's the one I use for the most part. And then I tried some other colors and everything. And I also, I didn't know what kind of rocks to use. You can use basically any rocks. The one thing that I did do is prime them white before I painted it, because if it's a dark rock, the paint's you're gonna have a hard time with the paint sticking. So, and Dee Dee says, yes, she's all kinds of. I don't know if she's talking about that specifically, but anyway, so I decided to go with just lava rocks. They're light. They do kind of look like a meteorite. I kind of like those. But I looked at a few different ones. This is one that I found that I really I thought, oh, this looks so cool. But I could only find one like this, and I wanted to make multiple rocks, and it's a little bit too big to go in the box I created. But this reminds me of the asteroid or meteors. I guess they call them asteroids in Empire Strikes Back. And it looks like there could almost be something living in here, like that worm, that space worm that showed up in Empire Strikes Back. So maybe one of these days I will paint one of these glow in the dark and make like a deluxe version. But for now, I'm just going to stick to these ones that I've already sort of primed and everything. This one already does have some glow in the dark on it. I didn't have any rocks that I didn't do anything to. So anyway, so I'm just going to start off. I'm going to break this open, and I had to do a number of different coats, so I don't know in the span of the time that because we'll probably only be going for about an hour or so. But I didn't know, I didn't know exactly, how many coats and everything it would take. It took a good 2 or 3 coats, and so I'm just popping off the top here, and then I'm just going to squeeze some out here. And it's a weird kind of consistency, and I'm just going to, I did get some gloves. I'm going to put on some gloves here so I don't get it all over my hands. But I want to paint at least one coat, and we may not get around to finishing this whole rock, but I want to kind of show you every step of the process. So, I mean, this is easy. So we're just basically painting a rock. But, have fun with it. You try different materials or whatever. But I do want to get some of this paint coated on here. And as you can see, I just kind of wish it would just go on smooth with one coat. And of course, you're going to have to let it dry and then flip it around and do all that stuff. So because I already have some pre-made, we'll end up just using one of those to stick in our box, but I want to kind of give you the process, and I'm just kind of dabbing it on here. But I like this color. I don't know how well this one will glow. The fact that I didn't use it originally, it could have been just because it didn't glow as green as the other sort of standard glow in the dark paint, because that's the one that is going to glow the most. But I like the way it looks, and also, I didn't want to go too much green on the original one because Kryptonite's green, and I wanted to differentiate my cosmic meteorite from Kryptonite. And I built a whole backstory around it, and some of that backstory was, instead of something that could take powers away from a superhero like Kryptonite, that our meteorite would grant power. So it would, if you discovered this rock and touched it or whatever, you would gain its energy and you'd gain superpowers. So anyway, so we've got, that's about as far as we're going to go. And it's like, And you just have to go and do multiple coats. Like if you look at this one here, I don't know how many different coats I did on this particular one to get it so it was as solid as it is. And unfortunately, I'm not in a position where I can turn off the lights right now. But when I show you the next video I did with glow in the dark, I've got a pretty cool reveal on the project that I'm working on. So that'll be in a few weeks. I've got a channel trailer that's going to come out that kind of sums up everything that I'm sort of doing in my channel. So that'll come out. We'll do some more live streams, and then the next video I did, which will I'll tell you, we'll have sort of a Halloween thing. We're getting close to the Halloween season, so I'm going to have some Halloween type videos coming up. But those that video has a really cool reveal. I'm really happy with how this next project came out. So I'm going to set this aside just for now, and we're going to get into cutting out our boxes and everything. So if you happen to be on my mailing list, I have just a blank template. It's basically this without the artwork on it. So if you're on my mailing list, if you go to the archives on my newsletter, on my Substack, you can find the blank file for this. So you could take that and you can design your own boxes for meteorites or whatever it is that you might want to build. And if you happen to be on my Patreon, I have two different tiers. One of them, I think the $5 tier, every time I do a project, I'll have like a set of files that go along with that particular project. So on the $5 tier, I think you get this one here, and you get all the artwork and everything. And then and then I think at the $10 tier, you get this one and this one here. And so it just depends, what tier you're at and everything. But some of this artwork is available. Like I said, just the blank template that you can design your artwork for and make these type of boxes, that's free. Like if you're already on my mailing list, check out one of my newsletters, and then you can go to the archive on my Substack and just go back and search, and you'll find that file somewhere in one of those old posts. And it's not too old if you're watching this close to when I'm filming this live stream and everything. Okay, so first thing, let's first we're gonna, we're gonna do something. So I showed you this. Hold on here. Now, when I originally did this box, because I'm the world's worst speller, I spelled handle wrong. So rather than just redoing all of this, reprinting this whole thing, because I printed this out on just regular copy paper. Like I just went to Office Max and printed it out on actually it's kind of on like a light cardstock, a really light cardstock, and then I put some spray mount and glued it to another sheet of cardstock so it gives it a little bit more thickness, because this is a box that's going to hold a rock. So you want it to have some thickness, but you don't want it to be so thick that you're not going to fold it. Not so thick that it won't fold, but also you want it, thin. You want it thick enough that it will, the rock won't fall out of it. So anyway, so what we're going to do, this is a little hack, fairly simple hack. So I just went and I printed a sheet I reprinted this with the correct spelling. And then I didn't want to just waste a whole sheet of paper. So I put a bunch of other stuff on here that I can use for, whatever. But I'm going to just get my X-Acto knife. And anytime you have to make any kind of correction, I mean, you can see that's pasted over. You can't even tell that that's pasted on top of that. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to cut this out here. And I'm going to correct my mistake real quick. And I've been going like a mile a minute, so I apologize to everyone in the chat. I know you guys are kind of talking amongst yourselves, but again, thanks everyone for showing up. And I will try to be more attentive to the chat. Hopefully when I get this channel big enough, I can get some moderators and stuff that can kind of help me out, but I don't really need that right now. Okay. Now, typically what I would do is I've got like I'll take imagine this T-square is just a sheet of cardboard. I'll take a strip of cardboard and I'll put tape on it, like a low tack, like a masking tape, and then I'll just place this face down, and then I'll spray it with spray adhesive. But since I'm inside, I don't want to do that, so I'm going to kind of do what I normally wouldn't do because this stuff isn't that great. But I'm just going to run some I'm going to run some, like a glue stick over it. All right, and then I'm just going to place it right over here, and you won't even be able to tell. Once I press it down, no one's going to know the difference. The dogs are getting a little excited again. All right, I'm going to clear some space here, and then I'm going to start cutting out this box, and we'll assemble it. All right. So I probably want to, I'm going to put a new blade on my X-Acto knife. It helps that when you get X-Acto knives, they can be expensive if you just buy a little thing of it. But if you go online, you can find like a big pack of it, and it makes sense to buy them in bulk because this will last me a long time. And I go through X-Acto knives like crazy just because they get so dull so quickly. So I'm going to switch this out. And then always dispose of your knives. Like I've just got this old case that says bad. These are my bad blades. And then I'll just save that somewhere where, oh, I took out too many. Let's see. All right. Let me replace this blade here. So let me just check out. So we've got Rolf Fertraco, we've got Dee Dee Willingham, 42 Crayons, Edie Sedgwick, Cameron Dillon. I haven't seen you in a while. How's it going, Cameron? So hey, everyone that's in the chat and everyone that's just kind of lurking, that's fine too. Or anyone that's watching after the fact. All right, so the way I've got it set up, here's kind of the trick when you're doing something like this. So you see these dotted lines? This is where I'm going to score. Oh, you know what? I noticed this. What the heck? Okay, this must have been, hold on a second. I see a problem here. Are they all like this? Okay, yeah. So you see, I don't know if you can see this little blue line. This was, I wasn't supposed to print that layer. Where's the, hold on, can you see that? I don't know if you can see that blue line that runs down there. So I wasn't supposed to print that layer. This is the actual one that I meant to do. So I guess I'm going to have to fix that. Hold on. So once again, I'm going to cut out this thing and just, because when you get the template, that's kind of what you're getting is all those blue lines and everything. But you got to remember to turn those off when you print them. So let me do this real quick, just repeating the same process, and then we'll take that down, and then we'll start on one that doesn't have all the guides and everything on it. It has some guides, but the guides that won't show up when you cut everything out. And the other thing is you can pick up, here's another little hack. It won't damage it too much if you just poke a little bit, and it allows you to pick it up a little bit. And then let's fix this here. All right, let me fix that. It also helps that there's a border there, which kind of makes it a little more seamless. If there's not a border, you kind of have to find it. If there wasn't a border, I would just take probably this whole top piece and maybe do that, but that's not going to show up. All right. Okay, so now back to what I was saying. So when you look at the way I've designed this template, we've got these dotted lines right here. This is where I'm going to score it. And basically when I score something, and I'm seeing there's a little, something on there, but that's all right. Okay, but so what I'm going to do is I'm going to, now like I said, this is sort of a double ply sheet of paper. This one's actually thicker than that last one. So I'm not going to be cutting all the way through this. But I'm going to line up these dotted lines right here and just don't press all the way, but just a little bit. And what that'll do, that'll score it so it'll fold. You can see how it folds, but it won't cut all the way through. That way I'll get a nice fold. So I'm going to go everywhere where I have these dotted lines, and I'm going to go and just lightly go over that like this. This is something that in the original video, I may have went too quickly for you guys to see what I was talking about. That's why I sometimes like to do these live streams and just, answer any questions and just show you a little slower pace how to do some of this stuff. All right. Again, I'm not pressing all the way through. And then I've got some more here. So I've got these lines here. Clear some of the stuff out of here. Not pressing all the way through, just lightly going over the top. Line it up here with these. Okay, same thing, not pressing all the way through. And then there's one more right here that I don't want to forget about where this flap kind of folds in. This is for the top of the thing. All right, so now I've scored everything I need to score. Now I can start cutting it out. And you need to, the way the template's designed, you need to score everything first, because if you cut it out, you're not going to have these are going to be gone, so you're not going to know where to score. Well, you might be able to figure it out, but it just kind of helps to score everything first. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut everything out. So I'm going to just go over these dark lines, these solid lines, and I'll kind of move in a little bit so I cut the actual line off. And since my knife is sharp, it should cut away through pretty easily. And then I'll go and do I'm going to do all my vertical lines first, just so I don't have to keep switching the paper around. And just be aware, I don't want to cut off this tab. And you know what? I wonder if this tab, oh yeah, I already did the score there. So, but I want to cut that right there, and then cover that right there. Oh, I didn't go all the way. I think I missed that one here. Okay, that actually has to go a little further. And then these little areas here I missed. I think did I get these here? Yeah, I think I got all those. So now that I've done all those, now I can go and I can flip it, and I would say my horizontal lines, but now they're vertical too, because I've flipped the paper around. So again, just cut these out. And be very careful, obviously. Hopefully that's a no-brainer with your X-Acto knife, because these things are super sharp. You can also, you can cut this out with, my original intention, I bought a Cricut maker and I was going to, make SVG files or whatever for cutting all these out. But it is so hard I have a hard time lining up the artwork with those files to cut it out on a Cricut. So anyone that maybe knows a little more about that, and it looks like I don't think I cut far enough through on some of these. That's the problem, is you got to, when you're doing it on a cardstock, you got to make sure you're cutting all the way through. Yeah, see, there's areas here. I always kind of forget that. That looks like it's cut through. That's cut through. Yeah, that's cut through. There's another one up here. Okay. And let's see. Did I miss that area here? Missed this flap here. Sometimes it's hard to remember what all you cut out. So I just cut that tip is so tiny and sharp that it sometimes, if you press too hard, you'll break the little tip off. It's still sharp, but I lost my tip there. So, all right. So now what we're going to do, oh, there's another one here that I missed. There. Let's see that. Okay. So we've got most of it. If I get that, let's see. There's a few areas here which I did not get, looks like. All right, now I've got some different shapes in here. These ones I'm just going to cut out. Here, let me give you a better view. These ones I'm just going to kind of cut out by hand. I'm not going to use, these are actually on the bottom of the box. So, for a small cut like that, it's not too difficult to do by hand without the ruler. So I'm going to cut out all these tabs, just moving around as I go. See? All right. Okay. All right, we're getting closer. We're getting closer. And then, of course, we got one more box that we're going to do. And I have to keep track of how long I've been going. I think I'm good because my one overhead camera, the battery in there, usually goes dead about halfway through a stream, so I can remember to switch out batteries. All right, here we go. One of these days I'll get some kind of setup where it's just easy and painless and everything. I was having some technical issues before the stream with one of my cameras. It just wasn't connecting right, but I just kept messing with it and I got it to work. I don't know how I got it to work, and I feel like it's been a while since I've streamed, so I'm a little rusty. Okay, we've got it cut out, but there's a couple other things right here. So we've got this little tab here that just makes it sort of easier to. So I'm going to kind of curve this around here and follow this curve. It's a little half circle shape here. That's just going to allow you to open the box a little easier. And then on the top here, where the top flap folds in, I want to give it a little bit of a curve. So I'm going to curve that. Same thing here. Cut that out. We're getting closer. Okay. And then these black areas here that are kind of this kind of line art here, I want to follow this because this is where these tabs are going to fold into. So we have to cut these out. Okay. But yeah, I'm super excited with some of the videos that I have coming up because I'm a huge fan of Halloween, and some of the videos, some of the things that I'm going to be doing are just super fun. And if you grew up, if you grew up in the 70s and 80s or 90s, you'll probably remember some of this stuff. And if you didn't, you grew up after that, it might, because I know I've got a few people that watch this that are still interested in that stuff, even though they don't remember it from their childhood. And it's kind of cool because when I was growing up, I was interested in stuff that happened back, when my dad was a kid and everything in the 50s and everything, because, I watched stuff like Back to the Future where they go back to the 50s and, and you learn about that kind of stuff, and you kind of want to know, what was around back then, like the old Buck Rogers sequels, and you kind of find what inspired, like I got to discover sort of what inspired things that I love, like Star Wars, because everything comes from something else. And nowadays, because a lot of these properties are so evergreen, like for instance, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We just went and saw the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, and there's been so many different iterations of that. But I'm from the time back when it was a comic book, and I remember my brother dressing up as a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle for Halloween. He sort of made his own costume. He might have got some help from my mom and dad, but he made his own costume. And this was before there was even anything. There was no such thing as a Ninja Turtle costume on the shelves, believe it or not. So he went as a Ninja Turtle, and that's back when they all had the red masks. In the comics, they all had the red masks, and so I don't know which particular turtle he was, but he had the red mask and everything, and I don't think he had any weapons either. But and everyone thought, are you a frog? And no one knew what it was. And then that property skyrocketed in popularity so fast that the next year, like everyone was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, and they started selling the costumes in the store and everything. So, but I guess my point is that all that stuff is, I mean, it becomes new again, and they keep putting out, for better or for worse. You know, it'd be nice. I love that they keep doing that. I love seeing all these different iterations of all these properties. I'd like to see more original stuff too, and that's why when I do these projects, I don't want to just duplicate, you know, what already came before. I want to put a different spin on it. So it's kind of like a reboot, kind of like the Ninja Turtles thing is. And so no matter what kind of variation of the Ninja Turtles you like, there's probably some version for you. Okay, so we've got our box here. Now you can see these will fold in here. Now the thing is, it's probably not going to stay. It's not just going to stay that way. We're gonna kind of go in and add some tape or something to kind of hold it for us. And also these flaps. I mean, they should be. If this was an actual box, they would have glue in the manufacturing that would work. So I've got a couple different kinds of tape here. I've just got the regular kind of transparent tape, and I'm just going to go in here and place it. It's kind of hard to get my big hands in there, but I just want to place it over the tabs so they'll stay in place, because otherwise it'll pop out. Like I said, when you're putting a rock in here, even if it's a light rock like a lava rock, jumbling my words there. Even if it's like a lava rock that's fairly light, it's, you don't want it to fall at the bottom. So we've taped all that together, and now we've got to tape this. I don't know if you can see that inside flap in there. I could go with double stick. Well, I'll probably do that. I'll probably put some double stick on one side here, and then I might reinforce it also with, although that's pretty good. That's pretty good. But I will take just a thing of Scotch tape and reinforce it here. All right, so now we'll fold in. We've already scored everything, so it'll be nice, clean folds. And then, as you can see, voila, there you go. There's our main box. And it looks like I could trim a little bit more off the edge to make it close. So this is stuff you can tweak as you go. So I'm going to add a little closer in, so there we go. Okay, so we got our outside box done. So there we go. Now let's go and we'll cut out our box with the artwork. Let's see. This time I want to make sure I've got the right art file. So I think this is it here. All right. And we're going to do the same exact thing. Hopefully this is still sharp enough, even though I kind of broke the tip off of it. I don't know which one is that that's not, yeah, the new one's over here. Okay. So we're going to do kind of the same thing with this box, and we can kind of check in on our Kryptonite. It's still, yeah, it's still kind of wet. Like I said, that won't be dry by the time we're done, but we'll just stick one of our pre-made rocks in there. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to do all our scoring. So again, if you weren't here before or you missed it, these dotted lines are where we're going to score, which is where we don't press all the way down. All we're doing is cutting like halfway through the paper. And because it's a thicker paper, it's not so thin that we're going to accidentally cut the whole thing unless we press down too much. So you got to have a light hand, and we're just going to kind of gradually just press down a little bit and go over our dotted lines here. And that's going to allow us to easily fold. I guess I missed putting the dotted line here to match it up with, but I can line it up with this white line. Oh, you know what? You guys can't see that. Sorry about that. So there should be another dotted line here, but I missed it, but we're just going to line it up along with that white line, and it'll be perfect. And again, we're not pressing all the way down. We're just scoring. Find our lines here, lining these up. Scoring. Lining those up. Scoring. All right. And then we go this way. lengthwise, we'll score these. We'll score these. We'll score the flap here on the top. And this is pretty much the same process we just did on the other one. So we've scored everything. Now we're going to cut it all out. And because the package is black, when I did the artwork, I did a white line so we can see it. So we want to cut on the inside of the white line so that our package, the edge of our package will be black. Now I'm pressing harder. I got to remember to press hard enough where it goes through, or else I'll have to go over it again. All right. And like I said, I like to just kind of move across. I'm going to move across vertically. Now I don't want to cut this out, so I got to make sure that when I'm cutting it, I only go to about here, and then I start again right here. Oops, I missed there. Hold on. There we go. Okay, same thing here. I don't want to cut all the way through the whole thing, just the top there, and then find out where it begins. And you can kind of put your X-Acto knife where it starts, and then move your ruler. And you want to use a metal ruler too, because if you're using a plastic ruler, the knife will just slice through it. Or a wood one, it'll slice through that too. So you could probably use some of those woods that have the little metal edge. Those would probably work, but you want to use a metal ruler when you're using your X-Acto knife. All right. So again, line it up here. Cut that down here. And then I can kind of see where it stops, because I can kind of see where my score is right here or down here. So I'll stop there. And same thing right here. I'm going to go here, and then I'm going to stop where my score starts. And then I can kind of put my knife here, butt it up with here, go all the way down there. And then I've got to cut out this last flap here. There we go. All right. Now I'm going to flip it over, and then I'm going to cut these lines out. So this white line here I'm going to cut out. So I'm just move my ruler just under the white line, cut through on that. This white line here just under there. Well, that's the problem when the tip gets chopped off there. It doesn't want to cut straight all the time, but it should be okay. All right, we'll line it up here. And I'm just going to cut across here, because I'll go back in and cut this little notch out later. And I'll cut this out here. Okay, move that back up here. And you got to make sure you're pressing down on you don't want your ruler to shift. All right, and then so we've got these two, well, there's a number of them here. So this bottom line here, we'll cut that. We're not worried about this part yet. We'll cut those out by hand. Cut that out there. Cut that out there. Cut that out there. Okay. And most of this, yeah, so most of it's kind of popping out here. Hold on a second. I'm going to take a second, like I said, to switch out my camera. So hold on a second. Give me 1 second here. Let's see if we're back online. No, not yet. Hold on. Sometimes it takes a second to reconnect. There we go. Okay. All right, we should be good to the end of the stream now. All right, so now what we're going to do is, we're getting close. We'll be putting these things together pretty soon. So let's see. I'm going to do this. These parts I'm going to just do by hand. You could do it with a ruler if you want, but since they don't have to be super straight because they're on the bottom. And since they're not long cuts, it's fairly easy to do by hand. All right. It seems like like I said, when I do these streams, I usually do them a little earlier in the day, where I am anyway. And the dogs seem to be a little bit calmer. Now they're getting a little excited. So, but, all right. Okay. And again, we're going to cut these out here. And basically, I mean, this box here is basically the same template as the other one. It's just a little shorter so it fits inside the other box. Because I like, you know, when I do these projects, I just want to, especially when it's something that's a little simpler, like just like a painted rock. I mean, the first thing I want to do is try to make it as close to the original. And that's why I designed this box to look like the original mail-away Kryptonite, just with my own spin on it. But then I wanted to go a little extra, and that's why I designed a box within a box. Because I like the idea of this radioactive toy, or toy. I don't know if you could call it a toy, but all right. Okay, we're getting close here. Now, I remember last time I did the flap, it was a little tight, so I'm going to cut a little closer in this time so that I can avoid having to make two cuts like before. Okay. Now, I think this should pop out, unless I missed. Sometimes you just miss areas. No, we got it. Okay, so we've got that. All right, here we go. All right, now remember, now we have to cut out these little areas right here for our tabs to fit in. So I'm just gonna, and sometimes it helps to turn, rather than turning your knife, sometimes it helps to turn the paper around, just depending on the kind of cut you're gonna make. So, okay. All right, this should be the last cut, and then we're going to start folding all this up, and then we're going to package it all together. But what I was kind of, I kind of get sidetracked. But what I was thinking of is I just love kind of having, when you create a product or something, I love having that sort of unboxing experience where, you know, if you're just, like I said in the video, we're selling the sizzle, not the steak, you know, because you're basically selling somebody a rock. I'm not actually selling these. Some of the projects I will sell on my website. These are little, because as you can see, it takes a long time to put together, so it's just not really feasible for me to try to sell these things at a reasonable price. Certain things I will though, or I'll sell templates so you can make them yourself or whatever. But I mean, selling the sizzle, not the steak. If your product is a rock, like this Kryptonite or even the famous pet rock, if it was just a rock, there's probably not much to that. But if you look at the pet rock, it was the way it was packaged. They put it in with a little, I don't know what you call that, that brown sort of grass stuff, and they put a whole manual on how to care for your rock and everything. And that's what sells the difference. It's like Cabbage Patch dolls. I mean, there were millions of dolls on the market, but their whole angle was that you adopt the doll, and every single doll is different because it has its own name and everything, and an adoption certificate and all that stuff. So when you're approaching these projects, that's what you want to think about. You want to think about how you can give your customer an experience, especially if it's just something as simple as a rock painted glow in the dark green. So, all right. So we're going to fold this all together. And as you can see it, because I scored it, just see how easy it folds. So fold all our pieces in. And there may be, I don't know if Dee in the chat, I would assume there's probably some kind of tool for scoring too. That, I don't know. I'm not sure. You think there'd be some kind of hand tool that doesn't like cut all the way through. I know I do have like a tool that's sort of a perforator. Like when you go over it, it'll make like a dotted cut, and that can score something too. So that's probably the closest thing. Maybe it won't give you the solid, but it'll. You know, sometimes when you have a ticket or something, like if you're making a ticket and you it's got kind of that thing you want to tear it off. It's sort of got that dotted line. There are tools that can do that. I've got one of those. I actually used that on the next project that will remain nameless. Okay, so now we're going to fold all these together. We'll start putting this box together. We're going to press in our tabs here. This one doesn't want to really stay together as much. So, all right, where did I put my tape? All right, so that's my double stick. I'm going to use. Now this box is even smaller, so I'm trying to get my hands in here. And you want to make sure that it's all put together. Let's see, I think the tab came out. Okay, it should be put together. Maybe I should tape this first before. Hold on a second. I'm gonna tape the side first, so that way hopefully it won't shift when I go to put the tape on the inside here. So I'm gonna get this little tab, put that on the inside here, and press that down there. Excuse me. All right. And some of my tape is exposed, so it's kind of sticky, but I'll put another regular tape over that so it won't be sticky anymore. It'll just cover that where it's exposed. We'll press in our tabs. Now it should stay in place, but just to reinforce it, I'm going to put some tape over here. Down here. Okay. And like I said, I'm going to put a piece of tape over the double stick tape for this side here. And there we have our inside box. Let's fold this in here. See how that works. And because I cut that inside, yeah, it came together pretty well. So now we've got our two boxes. And again, with the unboxing experience, you want to do a little extra. So we can get some tissue paper, some green paper here. I wonder if I have any. Let me look in here, see if I have any. I mean, you could put, if the rock will fit in here, if you got plastic bags or whatever, if you want to protect your kryptonite. So I don't know, what do you want to, maybe we'll do a green kryptonite. I mean, I don't know if it'll fit in here or not. I mean, you could do that, but you know what? I'm not sure if I like that. I think I want you to be able to open this, pull this out, and just have the meteorite right there. So I'm going to make that a little more square here. Cut a piece off there, and then we're just going to almost like we do a gift wrap a present in a box. I'm going to do that. Open our box here. We'll stick that in there. Fold in our flaps. Do this. There we go. And it's going to pop up a little bit, looks like. There we go. All right. Then we're going to open our other box. We'll sort of drop, and it should fit nice and snugly in there. Press on there, and there we go. There we have it. There's our cosmic meteorite. Warning, radioactive cosmic meteorite. Handle with care. Looks just like a plutonium case. Again, my Patreon members, I've got these files with the artwork for, I think at one of the tiers, the $5 tier, you get this one. The $10 tier, you get both, plus whatever other projects we've got going on. If that's not an option for you, I have, like I said, just join my mailing list. It's free, and you get the Comic Maker Starter Kit. If you don't already have that, you'll get that, and it's just a bunch of tools for making comics, which you can also use. A lot of that stuff you can use in projects like this. Just get creative with it. And And when you join the mailing list, I usually send out a newsletter every couple weeks. And it has to do with whatever that particular project is that I'm doing. When I did the Kryptonite one, I talked about like because it was a glow in the dark project, I talked about like famous glow in the dark toys and things throughout the ages and or throughout the decades, and just gave a little history on that and everything. And then I include the blank file, so it's just the file for make the box, and you can add your own artwork to it and everything. So that's something here. Do I still have my big plutonium case? Dee Dee wants to know. Yes, I do. It's actually here in the lab. It's actually, I can put right now under my desk. I'm resting my foot on it right now. So it's kind of like in the Back to the Future where, you know, McFly, he kind of scoots his skateboard over and it hits it and everything. So it's right under my desk. But yeah, I still have that. So you can, and then Roll for Taraco, says, oh, what happened? There we go. So you can make mini CircWorks props. Yes, you can. I mean, the possibilities are kind of endless of what you can do. So, but anyway, so that is my version of mail-away Kryptonite. I've called it the Radioactive Cosmic Meteorite. But, you know, I always, you know, I make these projects to inspire you guys to kind of take what I'm making and do your own thing. Just like I'm looking at one of my favorite books, Mail Order Mysteries. And then, you know, and there's so much stuff in here from these, you know, the 3D glasses to, I mean, let's see, let me switch views so I can just kind of flip through. I mean, who knows? We may get to making some of this other stuff. Toy soldiers. There's so much stuff in here just to mail away. Look at this spud gun. But at some point I got to make some of these giant, you know, monsters. But where's the Kryptonite? Let me find the Kryptonite here. Yeah, here it is. So there, that's the inspiration right there. As you can see, it captures the look and feel of that original, but it's got my own spin on it and everything. So that's kind of what I like to do. I like to find inspiration out there and then put my own. Oh, here we go.
Super chat.
Thank you, Dee Dee, for the super chat. I appreciate that. I'll pull that up here real quick. I really do appreciate that. And yeah, I don't know. Last time I know you were trying to do a super chat on my last stream and it didn't work. I don't know. There was some, I don't know. YouTube's crazy that way. But again, I want to thank everyone for tuning in to these live streams. Like I said, I want to. The goal is to do one of my edited videos. Those are super fun to do, but they take a long time. So in the off weeks or whatever, then I like to do these live streams and dive a little deeper into some of this stuff and kind of connect with you guys and whether it's answering any questions or just go a little deeper into some of these projects or something. Maybe it's not even the same project from that video. Maybe it's just inspired by that. Maybe it's a different, something having to do with that. Who knows? But again, thank you everyone for tuning in. And yeah, I just want to give you all a round of applause. And I will see you guys soon. If you don't check me out here, you can check me out on either my friend Josh or Corey's channel. When we do the art casters, usually every week. I think we're doing one Thursday night. I think Josh's channel, so definitely check that out. But yeah, that's another way you can see me when I do live stuff. But at least on my channel, I'm going to be doing these projects and everything. So thanks for tuning in. And yeah, I will see you guys. next time. Later.